excellent. We'll get into that as this game continues. Chinyelu for Florida wins the tap. And the Gators here in front of a raucous crowd will start with the ball. Clayton penetrates to his left. He kicks corner three to start. Around and out, and the rebound goes to the Sooners.
Boy, that is a big deal. Oklahoma towards the bottom of the league in rebounding, Rabbi. They've got to hang in this game on the glass.
Nearly falling out of bounds was Sam Godwin, and he threw it off of a Gator player. It'll stay with Oklahoma. The Sooners 16-9, 3-9 in conference. They've lost 4 games in a row. Florida has won 4 games in a row. And there's your point about the boards. 318th they rank in Division I. Jeremiah fears the dish. The 3 straight on, that doesn't go. Take a look at the Gators lineup. And again, they are missing Alex Condon, who has been outstanding, as Clayton fires a long 3 off the backboard. Aberdeen has been special in the games that he has started. He's been on fire.
Yeah, there's not a team in the country that has 4 better guards than what Florida has right now.
Yeah, we started this season saying 3. They got 4. There's a backdoor alley-oop that worked out beautifully. And as good an athlete as maybe on the floor tonight, Jalen Moore gets things going for the Sooners.
Yeah, he's as good of an athlete as we have in the SEC, and that's a big statement because there's a lot of them in this league.
Aberdeen last 4 games averaging about 16.3 points per game as he kicks to Houck for a long 3. That's a little strong, and nobody but red shirts there on the defensive glass.
Yeah, great job of gaining and rebounding early by Oklahoma. They don't have one dominant rebounder. It's going to take all 5.
Hand off to Miles. He's in the paint and has to kick it. Fears, that's an open 3. 3-point shooting, both teams cold to start. Aberdeen deep off the window. That's no good. Godwin deep, and he lost the ball. That's a turnover.
And here's that transition game I talked about in the open that is so hard to handle.
Houck just turned around, and that is a rip and a strip and a foul on Godwin. Todd Golden's team's 22-9, 9-3. They have this confidence about them. We felt it early this season, and it has continued to grow over the course of the season.
Yeah, they are loose, they are confident, they are very much together. I mean, all the things you want in your club in mid-February. Big reason why they're one of those #1 seeds right now.
Houck ball fake, got a man in the air, but he turned around and got it out to Richard, and they got 8 on the shot clock. Chinyelu will find Aberdeen 1 extra. 3 ball won't go in.
So important for Oklahoma to get off to a good start in this game. They got a gut punch on Saturday, losing at home to LSU, a game they had won all the way to the last 30 seconds.
Nice nifty touch off the window there from Jeremiah Fears, the leading scorer on the team, or second leading scorer at 15.2 a game.
You've got to stay in front of Fears, man. He can get to that rim.
There's one that drops. Long bomb for Will Richard.
Rabbi, see how quickly Florida puts it on you even after the make, man. They get to that transition game and spot those 4 shooters up. Tough to handle.
35% 3-point shooter is Richard, penetrating all the way, and no help from Houck on the back. It's an easy layup.
Todd Golden will not be pleased with their ability or inability to stay in front of the ball so far in this game.
Gators 1 of 5 from 3. And 5 of their first 6 shots have been 3-point field goal attempts. And here's another one. And another one that drops. That's Walter Clayton Jr. now. 48 straight games. He's made at least 1 3.
And in their last 4-game winning streak, Florida averaging 21 assists a game.
Good eye. Too strong. And too early in the shot clock.
Yeah, I didn't like it. A hard guarded 3 early in that clock.
Yeah, and then a frustration foul perhaps for Duke Miles.
He was joking with Molly and I earlier today. So, you know, after the game, we drove back to Orlando, spent the night at a Holiday Inn. We're flying the commercial. My assistant coach said, hey, coach, I think we're pretty good. And at that point, from that point on, they believed that they were Final Four good, and they certainly were.
Guys, in that timeout, Porter Mosier telling his team that they're playing unselfish, complementary basketball. He said they cannot get to the paint. This is exactly what we want. And he told Jeremiah Fears to keep forcing the ball inside, and he harped on their rebounding, saying they have 0 second shots in that first 4 minutes.
Yeah.
If we limit their second chance opportunities, we can control this game.
Yeah,
they did that, Jimmy.
No doubt. Again, all 5 guys got to get on that glass. Florida, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country.
Aberdeen penetrates. That's too high. There's one of those offensive rebounds. As big Micah Handlockton has come into the game. He's 3 for Florida. He was redshirted, then came in when they lost Condon. So they will get even taller, deeper, and better because of it as Houck draws the foul.
Yeah, no doubt they will. I mean, Handlockton all of 7 feet. Terrific protecting that rim. Talking about 3 in white. His running buddy right now in that 4 position, Thomas Houck, on the free throw line. Such a valuable weapon, Ravi. Shoots that 3-point shot well. He's a hard cutter. Has a nose for the ball. I mean, this Florida team is Final Four good.
Sophomore out of New Oxford, Pennsylvania. He was a state champion in the state in 2023. Look at what he did last year compared to what he's done this year. He had a career-high 20 against South Carolina. And as his coach describes him, he's just a winning player. Does everything you want on both ends of the floor without any drama.
This is where Florida has gotten better this year. They could score at a rapid rate a year ago. They couldn't defend well enough to advance deep in March. That's not the case this year. They can lock you down when they need to.
So Martin joins Aberdeen as Clayton takes a seat on the bench. And there is an alley-oop to nobody, but they're going to get Handlockton, I think, with a hold, either Handlockton or Houck.
Yeah, Moore was rolling to the rim. Fears looking for him, and Handlockton got a grab on him, which is one of those areas that we've got to get better as I watch games all across the country, not just this league, man. Those off-ball grabs and holds, we got to get on top of.
Glenn Taylor Jr. steps in. They ultimately called that foul on number 10, Jimmy. That was Houck who picks up the foul. And they both may have grabbed the arm. Fierce one-on-one and a nearly impossible shot. Great work on the glass, and Houck will get whistled now. That's 2 quick ones in a row for him as he went for the block.
Yeah, Houck came down and just a lot of hard contact on that arm of Moore. And Moore, again, one of the better athletes in college basketball. He's a threat on the offensive glass. He's quick to the front of the rim on misses. Remember, Ravi, this is an Oklahoma team that I saw. They won the battle for Atlantis. And they've got good wins in non-conference. Oklahoma, Arizona on a neutral floor, which is second in the Big 12. Louisville, second in the ACC right now. Michigan leads the Big 10. Those are all 3 wins that Oklahoma has.
Yeah, very, very good. So Houck with 2 fouls going to have to leave. Oklahoma's got Woogie on the line, the Alabama transfer. He missed his first. You listen to what Joe Lenardi says, a loss tonight wouldn't really hurt their chances.
Yeah, well, it tells you a little bit about maybe how weak the bubble is, but how important those 3 non-conference wins are for Oklahoma.
Yeah, a loss may not hurt him. A win would be monumental.
Yeah, no doubt.
Martin, he penetrates, and that's a soft kiss. They've missed that when he was out. Physical presence.
He is just a bull, right? Driving that basketball.
Taylor Jr. tries to go in. There's Handlockton to help. Fears still plenty of time on the shot clock as he rises and buries it. That felt a little Trey Johnson-like from the game we just saw where Texas and the freshman sensation beat Kentucky.
Such a talent is Fears. Now, he should still be a senior in high school. He has been beat up by older physical point guards in this league.
They're switching, so Wuggy's got Martin who kicks Aberdeen high, arcing 3, too strong. And a really good job to take that one away from Handlockton.
Yeah, those Oklahoma guards, man, they are coming down, getting involved in the fight on that defensive glass.
And Florida just lost that ball out of bounds. He claims it was knocked out.
I mean, Jeremiah Fears for Oklahoma. He leads the SEC freshman in free throws made, free throw attempts, and he's number 2 in assists. He's a tough cover. Now, he's a young kid, was 17 when he first stepped on campus at Norman, but, man, he's got a terrific future. But, I mean, he's gone up against Mark Sears, Lamont Butler, Denver Jones at Auburn, Walter Clayton Jr. tonight, Zakai Ziegler on down the line.
Yeah.
A league full of older, good, big point guards.
Yeah, more physical,
yeah.
Exactly right. Wide open, and that's short for Martin, and a chance here for Fears. It's 1 versus 2. Kicks corner, 3 ball, no good. Neither team shooting very well from the outside. That was Kobe Elvis's first. Clayton Jr., pretty play.
That's a great read by Clayton Jr. to understand they did not have a big run to the front of the rim, so it opens up the floor, allows Clayton Jr. to keep the ball, penetrating for a 2-point basket.
You know, having Handlockton in the lineup, getting Martin back, even Todd Golden admitted in their last game, difficult to play everybody and figure out where they belong, when they belong, and maybe this game will show a little bit more of that rhythm. Set. He's got 9 in the shot clock, and he gets the screen from Handlockton. He'll pull up and bury it.
He is a bucket. I'm telling you, he went all 40 minutes when they went at Auburn. 19 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. He is playing like a first-team All-American.
Yeah, and his confidence is through the roof, and all of a sudden, it's a 7-point lead for the Gators. Fears doing it himself. Blocked by Handlockton, and they get the whistle underneath. Golden doesn't like that call, but there is a foul.
Yeah, he went with the inside hand, though. It's just a crafty move to get fouled. Well, Go Gators is getting it going because of this kid, Walter Clayton Jr., Ravi. He's so good and physical, much more than a 3-point jump shooter. Really reads the floor well, but, man, he can knock it down. Gators on a 15-4 run right now.
Arguably the 3, and you mentioned it, 4 now, best backcourt combo in the country.
Ravi, it's a Florida team that's really made from 3-star guys, mid-majors that transferred up. Chinyelu, the only 4 or 5-star guy when he came out of high school. So you're looking at a Florida team that's very talented, but they play with a chip on their shoulder. Older guys with something to prove, and boy, those pieces fit awfully well right now.
You mentioned Clayton Jr. out of Iona, Will Richard from Belmont. But isn't every program built that way now?
Seems like, yeah.
Beauty of a guy like Clayton Jr. and given the years he's played, there's just never a heartbeat that beats too rapidly, as they had a good play out of that timeout to Chinyelu down low.
Florida, that they cut as well as anybody in this league off ball. And everybody that understands it, it's not just one guy.
Klapsar got a hand on it. Oh, alley-oop, look out, into row 4.
And Joakim Noah couldn't have gotten that one back in the day. Oh, the pressure, the defensive pressure.
The only guy that may have had a chance was Olivier Rioux on the Florida bench, who's 7'9".
7'9", yes.
He might have had a chance. The reason you're not seeing him is he's redshirting this year, but he is all of 7'9". It's a little too easy for the Gators, and a foul on Martin.
That's that toughness and physicality that has gone to another level this year, primarily because of Martin. I mean, he just bulldozes his way to the basket and plays through contact and ones. But Ravi, it has spread to this entire Florida team. They are way more physical on both ends than they were a year ago.
Well, they've upped their shooting percentage to almost 50% now. They have certainly gone inside more often, up to 7 for 15. Staten Forsythe is going to take a seat on the bench for Oklahoma. And you can just feel, Jimmy, how this one can get away from the Sooners real fast.
Well, on their home floor this year, Florida plus 25 points per game at home. I mean, they are a truckload here in this building.
What a rip there by Martin, who's playing great now in his second game back. Midway through the first, this feels like a real dangerous time for Oklahoma. Martin all the way, no, too strong. Chinyelu. There may be a whistle on the floor, and there was.
Well, but it's a great job by Oklahoma, Ravi, to initially get matched up in transition. Just what I drew up in the open. That's where Florida went to. Oklahoma matched it. But then you got to stay in front of the ball. And any ball that's driven through the elbow or through the nail, man, that is a problem for your defense.
They set up out of the timeout. 3 ball, too strong and too long. Clayton Jr. leading the way. He's got 8. Good time penetration. Wow. He just backed his defender and Martin out of the way.
Great job, man. That dribble hold action to hold that defender off.
Clayton Jr. works it. The reverse block. Terrific defense that time. Maybe a little bit upset about the last time when Jalen Moore was taken to the hole. Good eye. Left hand, no good. Rebound, no. Good hard penetration. There was a good seal, too, from Godwin. Just when it felt like this could be a real dangerous spot, Oklahoma's come up with some critical baskets. All right, next 2 more games. Laptop, TV, wherever you're going to watch this thing. Number 5, Houston will square off against Arizona State at 9 Eastern on ESPN2. At 9 o'clock on ESPN, Kansas will take on BYU. Back to Houston for a second. This is another team that's going to contend, it feels like, for a natty. They have been outstanding, winning 17 of the last 18. 11 straight road win is the nation's longest active streak, and tied with Kansas for the longest Big 12 road winning streak, Jimmy, in league history.
Ravi, the best teams in college basketball can win when they don't shoot well. That's Houston almost every night. They choke your water off, and Arizona State, they tried to run a ball screen tonight. They're going to get jarred, man. That Houston ball screen defense, as good as you're going to see in basketball. And right there, Houston setting as one of those 2 seeds. They could work their way up to a 1 seed if a couple of those 1 seeds falter down the stretch.
Aberdeen hard, throws it up, that can't go, and Denzel Aberdeen got pushed out of the way on the way back by Sam Godwin. Officials didn't see it. Fears floater, too strong, and there's hand locking.
No, but it's good offense, though. A quick early ball screen for Fears. He can make those floaters more than he misses.
Klavsar, 1 fake, and a 3.
That's the pressure they put on you after a miss. They run 4 shooters around that 3-point line and a big to the rim and put you in a bind.
Klavsar playing the sophomore 6'1" on a Slovenia. Hauk's been on the bench with foul trouble. Just another guy that rolls in and launches and makes threes. That went off Clayton Jr. and Todd Golden and the Gators say no.
Ravi, the speed that Florida brings it with. I mean, that's a 1-pass transition play for Florida. And you find that shooter in the corner, Klavsar, who's getting some good minutes. You mentioned the depth of Florida. It's frontline depth and guard depth.
They're going to call a foul against Oklahoma as Hamlockton gets a chance to mix it up.
You can't keep missing rim shots if you're Oklahoma on the road. They're getting the ball there, but their efficiency level awfully low in this game.
We talk about the ability to bury the 3-point shot. We talked about the 4-headed monster. Klavsar in SEC play, Jimmy, is an 80% 3-point shooter. 8 of 10.
Yeah.
You see what they've done. A lot of it has come on the inside, but since 0 for 5, they've gone 8 of 15. Aberdeen working deep. He'll fire another open one. There you go. Denzel Aberdeen's been waiting for that, and that's not what Porter Moser wanted to see, is Aberdeen dropping in a 3-ball.
Florida understands good offense. Denzel Aberdeen, Ravi's going to drive this ball for the paint. As he drives that ball and picks it up, hold it right there, guys. He's going to pass the basketball, but then he is going to make an exit cut. He doesn't stand and watch the action. As a result, he's going to make the pass out. The exit cut is quick and fast. He gets those shoulders square and lets it fly. This is a high IQ offensive team, Florida. It beats you in multiple ways, transition, half court. They just understand how to play ball.
In Tennessee and Auburn, which is why a lot of folks, certainly in this area, believe they should be, Florida, the #1 team in the country.
Well, it's also why Todd Golden continues to tell his guys, I want to be the overall #1 seed. I mean, he has set the bar high, and they're capable, Ravi, of getting there.
Yes, they are. Fears had that one taken away. Here's Martin. The alley-oop to Chinyelu. What a read by Elijah Martin. No good on the 3, out of bounds off Fears. Danger time for Oklahoma.
The speed of Chinyelu. Look at this guy on the left side of your screen. That's your starting post player for Florida that's just getting out and outrunning the guard that made the pass. Man, are they explosive.
And Martin had that football background, running back, quarterback. Just threw one up there and let his receiver go and flush it through. Aberdeen.
He's not shy.
Denzel,
is
no.
he? Good cut.
Chinyelu got his fingers right into Fears' face. Now he tries to take the big guy and he'll kick it. He's got to get it off quick. He does. Oh, and he knocked it down. And Don Daly just wants to make sure that he got that one off in time.
Well, another kid that understands that fast exit cut. Oh, yeah. Count it, right?
And Janai Broom is just a guy that quiets everything around him. Auburn's 11-1. There's Alabama 10-2. Florida sits there at 9-3. But Auburn kind of reminded everybody, you know, not so fast. We have Broom, who's one of the best players in the country and may end up being the player of the year. Martin with a man in his mug, buried a 3, and then he petted Elvis, Kobe Elvis, on the back.
Ravi, to your point about Auburn, if Auburn wins the regular season, Bruce Pearl should be the National Coach of the Year. I mean, this is historically the toughest league in all of college basketball. And whoever wins that regular season crown, that's my vote for the National Coach of the Year. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be Bruce Pearl.
They're all on fire right now, Jimmy, and it's a 34-17 lead. We've seen Martin do it. That time it was a pretty pass to Richard in the corner. 7 of 12 field goals are 3s. A hard drive denied from behind by Will Richard. He does it at both ends.
Florida's won 4 in a row. They're making 13 three-point shots a game in that winning streak. They understand paint touch equals good looks from that backside corner. They find the backside bomb as well as anybody in this league. And Oklahoma's continuing to drive the ball, but man, the white jerseys are just eating them up at the rim. A lot of misses, a lot of blocks by Oklahoma at the rim tonight.
Yeah, you do wonder at what point did Glenn Taylor Jr. think this is going to go in when he had 3 white jerseys all ready to attack?
As you bring the ball to the rim in this league, things just look different.
Shot clock violation and more frustration for the Sooners. You talk about the depth that Florida has shown. The Gators tonight, their bench scoring 11, and the Sooners nothing.
Nothing, yeah. That's a big gap, and Oklahoma is trying to hang in here right now. Not let this thing get to 20 or more before the halftime.
Out back in the game with a couple of fouls. Richard again. Boy, it is just a big bucket right now they're seeing. What do you do if you're Porter Moser? What do you do?
You cannot make a mistake against Florida, grabbing the way they shoot the ball so well. That's a ball screen, and you're going to flatten back if you're Jalen Moore. Just say, go ahead and shoot it. Well, good luck with that.
17-3 run in the last 4 minutes. They've got 17 points in the last 4 minutes.
Think about it. Oklahoma's three-point defense coming in 12th in the nation, and Florida is lighting them up.
A wide open three. Boy, did they need that. That's no good. And Clayton has it. Richard again? No. By Houck to stay in front of Moore. Excellent relocation by Fears. Really well done.
Big time offense by Oklahoma to keep that ball moving. Some dribble weave action up top. Florida covered it the first 3 or 4 passes, and really good offense by Porter Moser's guys there.
Jeremiah Fears has 14 of the team's 20. Bad pass from Houck. Florida, that's their first turnover tonight. That ball is just blown up that time by Martin. It's 4-on-1. Richard throws it up, and that was a little too high for Chinyalu. Wuggy is just insistent on getting in there and getting fouled, and he did. If at first you don't succeed, just, man, keep pounding and pounding away.
There comes a point in the season where you got to make your own hope. And you do that by winning a tough, meaningful game. And their opportunity is there right now. Ravi, it's so important this last 3:19 for Oklahoma to not get blown out. Hang in this game, get to halftime, reorganize. And to Seth's point, try to keep this a half-court game, as many possessions as you can.
The next 5 for them, all ranked teams. They went through a period where they played 5 against ranked teams. Then they had a terrible loss where they blew a 13-point lead to LSU. And now, again, 5 games against ranked teams. As Porter said, we have a path. It's a hard path, but it's an attainable path.
Yeah. The other thing in this league, when you lose 3 or 4 in a row, you can also lose your resiliency, and that's a concern for Porter coming into this game.
He did say they had a pretty good bounce, though, after a day after that LSU loss, which was really demoralizing for them. Clayton Jr. rises, fires,
wow,
and finds it.
What do you do about that if you're Porter Moser?
There's a tough pass in traffic, caught. Yep, a foul on Clayton.
Seth Greenberg said Florida's
Richard, I should say.
Seth said Florida's got dudes. Walter Clayton Jr. probably leads that pack. I mean, what do you do against this? This is a well-guarded late clock 3 that Jalen Moore, who's a big athlete, goes up with a hand in the face, and Clayton just sticks it from about 25 feet. There's not a guard in the country playing better or more confident than that kid right now.
Yeah, and he's got a child at home, and Todd Golden talked about not only his role and responsibility to this team, but more so to his baby and how he has embraced it and really has the respect of everybody on the team, and certainly Golden, the way that he's handling being a dad.
Yeah. I think he's averaged right at 8 assists the last 3 games. I mean, he is doing it all.
.40 points, 2.5 to go in the first half for the Gators. Clayton sidestep 3, a little too strong.
And you got a good chance right now if you're Oklahoma. This needs to be a possession where you get a good look.
Contested 3, really good defense as Clayton Jr. got back. The drive, and Denzel Aberdeen will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
I just didn't love the shot by Goodine that time. I know he's shooting a high percentage, but you're on the road, you're down 16. It was a 1 pass, first side of floor, contested jump shot. You move that ball, make Florida work, you know?
So here's Aberdeen, Jimmy. The junior is 6'5", out of Orlando, Florida. Had a career-high 22 against South Carolina, in which he made 5 3-point field goals. What Golden needs when you have this much quality depth and dudes that can make shots, because they all can do it, are guys that buy into this whole team concept. Winning makes that a little bit easier, but Aberdeen's a great example of it.
Well, there are almost 2,000 guys in the portal after last year. Aberdeen was not one of them, and he had a good SEC tournament. But he, an unselfish guy that has bought into your point and has stuck it out and made himself a very good SEC guard. A lot of props to that kid for sticking it out, you know.
Fears still held onto by Oklahoma. 4 seconds. Elvis fires up a wild shot that does draw iron, but Clayton Jr.'s got it. This feels like trouble for Oklahoma. No on the 3, and he hit the ground. No foul against Oklahoma.
Those are quick shots on the road when you're down like Oklahoma's down.
Martin will launch. That's way, way too strong. Handlockton has it. That didn't hit the iron, so they got to get rid of it again. Clayton kicks. Aberdeen fires. Fears 14 of the 24 for Oklahoma. Godwin just throws one up with the left. That doesn't get in.
That's where Will Richard has really gone to another level this year. Kind of a spot-up three-point guy a year ago, and he's now just as physical as any Florida guard, driving that ball and getting to that free throw line.
Richards, of course, scored the game winner at South Carolina, where he hit a shot with 4.8 seconds to go. It was also his 1,000th point as a Gator. Kid that came here from Belmont.
Rabbi, you hear a lot of talk, obviously. There's what Will Richard's all about the best win in college basketball this year. It's Florida at Auburn.
Yeah.
There's not a better win in college basketball than going to Auburn, a true road game, and winning there. And that's how good this Florida team is. 6 different guys this year have had a 20-point game or more. Clayton, Will Richard, Martin, Aberdeen, Houck, and Condon. Yeah, that's real depth.
The other win that is circled for its impressive nature was the one we saw against Kentucky when they beat them by 30.
They're right there as the odds-on favorite that could win the whole thing. I mean, they are loaded. We saw them practice on Saturday, and they got it all now.
They do. If UConn shoots the way they did with Fudd and Beckers, they are a tough out. And that's a duo they thought would be playing together for 4 years, and because of injuries, they haven't. They're going to get Walter Clayton Jr. a little too close against Fierce.
He probably fouled him 3 times before they actually called it.
We go back to what Molly said too. Remember, Fears and scouts and the attention that he's getting relative to the veterans on the Gators, Clayton Jr. in particular. You know, maybe bubbling up there in a play like that, like I'll show you, you don't get by me, some of that stuff.
Well, Fears is he's got a great spirit about him, Ravi. At this point of the season, if you're getting the minutes that he's getting as a freshman, then you're no longer a freshman. And he's got a big load on him, and a big miss. This basket right here could be huge.
All the way. Soft touch, boy, has he been outstanding. And that is how this half will end.
Well put by him, Molly. Really well put.
Such a good word, though, deflated. And how these young men deal with that type of impact from a Florida Gator relentless offense. See what the start of the second half brings, and right away it brings a turnover.
It is such an unforgiving league this year. And you get your dauber down, it's hard for Oklahoma men just to find their way back. And Porter was very concerned about the confidence level of his team over the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, the only guy that was a little shaky in the first half for Florida really was Aberdeen, who's been so hot, went 1 of 7. Clayton gets fouled on a crazy fadeaway, and Miles is going to get called. Denzel Aberdeen, 1 of 7. He ended up with 5 points. And of course, Aberdeen, in the absence of some of the injured players, had carried them for about 4 games. 42 points his last 2 games and a 62% field goal percentage.
If you think about Oklahoma right now, they're 3-9 in the league, staring at 3-10 unless something changes dramatically. In 2 of the last 3 years, Oklahoma has been the first team out of the NCAA tournament. And with a loss tonight, Joe Lunardi says they still hang in there, but man, do they need a couple more or 3 really good wins.
They've doubled them up 48-24, and Clayton, to go with all of his terrific shooting from the floor, is an outstanding free throw shooter at near 90%. Difficult pass inside, tipped out of bounds. Let's follow up on that point about this conference and how difficult it is, because around the country they keep hearing about the SEC getting 13 or 14 teams in. That's the rest of the country. You're a team like South Carolina or Oklahoma. How difficult is it to compete in this conference, and what do you have to do long term to compete with the top?
You have to have your NIL money match what's going on in this league. And you look at right now where Oklahoma is in the NIL, where South Carolina is in the NIL. They're not up to standard. And Oklahoma lost a couple of key guys last year because they couldn't afford to keep Milos Uzan and Otega Owe. Uzan starting for Houston right now, Owe starting for Kentucky, and that's just as simple as you can put it.
They'll let Chinyelu drive, and no, he can't get the touch to go. Will Richard has drawn the assignment of Fears. They switch, left hand, can't go, and here's a chance for Florida to use their speed.
Oklahoma has missed, I don't know, a handful of shots right at the rim in this game.
Yep.
There's that 4-round offense. They play ball out of it. They have plays, but they also just play ball out of it.
Aberdeen brushes the freshman Fears off, and then he falls down, but he does as a result of a foul.
Aberdeen, though, what I do like about him, he's hyper aggressive coming off of ball screens. And I mean, those first 2 dribbles for anybody coming off of a ball screen, they have to be thinking downhill and go score. And Aberdeen has that aggressiveness about him. Now, you read the defense after the second bounce, which he needs to progress in that area, but he is wired to get downhill. Got to be there. Oh, he got lucky. Just can't dare Florida to shoot off that on-ball action.
Good eye with a nice rebound in traffic, and now he uses that right arm, and he's not going to get called for pushing off. They're going to get Aberdeen to the foul. More college basketball coming up, Jimmy, right after us here, ESPN2, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars take on Arizona State. The other Hurley is struggling tonight against Villanova, getting beat badly at home at last check. Goodine. And that's good defense by Houck, but it's tipped up and in by Sam Godwin, the senior out of Ada, Oklahoma.
Well, he led Godwin the Big 12 last year.
Yes.
In offensive rebounds. He's not quite at that 3 offensive rebounds per game, but it's just the kind of dirty work that he does. Talking about 10 in red.
That ball was deflected, and it is on the floor. And here comes Oklahoma again. They got it down to 18. Good defense that time by Clayton to slow it down. Fears dribbles right into Chinyelu in traffic. And continue who's going to get the foul. So good play here by Oklahoma. Just what Porter Moser told Molly he wanted to see out of the second half break.
Yeah, well, Porter Moser can really coach. And to challenge his guys right now to try to win the second half is exactly the message you send. They had a brutal 3-game stretch schedule-wise, which kind of knocked them back. But Ravi, that loss to LSU on Saturday, that one's really tough to recover from. And now they got to find a way to get another 3 wins, maybe 4 in this league.
What Oklahoma's done pretty well tonight is control Florida's fast break game. The last 4 games, they've been outscored in fast break points big time. And tonight, it's a 4-2 edge for the Gators. Just sort of a whole bunch of contact. Walter Clayton Jr. will get fouled. That's a 3rd foul on Duke Miles.
Well, Clayton Jr. is really good, Ravi, at that. You know, his 2nd or 3rd bounce going towards the rim, he's finding the defender and getting into the body. And he's an older kid that has seen it all in terms of how to score in this league.
Martin's having a great night shooting. They left him wide open, and Florida 5 straight games with at least 10 3-point field goals.
Where's the weakness for Florida, man? They get you in every area. Transition, they're much better defensively this year. They're great in the special teams category, those out-of-bounds underplays. I mean, they are the complete real deal.
Good move there to shake Handlockton. And the 2 for Jalen Moore. Other end, too quick.
Well, about 2 seconds. Get that ball out of the net, and Martin's finishing at the other end.
Just after we talked about the fast break points. That's a foul on a 3-point shot. Sitting down there on the ground and unable to kind of come to grips with what he just did. Clayton Jr.
The momentum seems to be going that direction for guys. But man, the depth of Florida, that front line, just deep, long, big, talented.
Here's Handlockton. Doesn't have any points. He's got 3 rebounds in this game. He got a couple of points in his debut. As Hauk will fire a 3 from straight on, no good. Handlockton kept it alive and then lost it out of bounds.
Well, Ravi, he hasn't played in a college game in 11 months, so it's going to take a while for him to knock the rust off, find his groove, but he's a 7-footer that's going to protect the rim on one end. He's always a force to run the floor in their transition. And you're burning the red shirt for a guy that's really, really good.
Yeah, Hauk went straight up. That was a good job by him, and Elijah Martin comes in and rips it away from everybody. Alex Condon, who is out, is sitting on the bench. He's got a boot on tonight. He was kind of walking around with sneakers on during the shoot-around today and shooting the basketball as Martin gets another chance. Too strong. Taylor Jr., he passes it back. A line drive 3 that wasn't close, but it goes out of bounds off of Martin. And they are letting Jalen Moore hear it.
That's for a 41% 3-point shooter in league play to completely miss the rim. That's uncommon.
Bad pass.
Oh,
Boy, was that a mistake.
You know what? That's the 7-foot presence of Handlockton, though, bothering that out-of-bounds under.
Crowd wanted Handlockton to shoot that. Instead, he gives it to a much better 3-point shooter. Smart play.
Well, Handlockton understands the offense better than the crowd. Good job of that simple handoff action. I mean, all those Florida bigs, you can run offense through them from up top.
Yeah, Miles, that's too strong. Martin rips it away. Clayton Jr.'s 4 of 6 from 3 and firing again. No good.
Wow.
Rip and yet count the basket.
There's a toughness and a physicality about Florida this year that they did not have last year. And this example by Will Richard to fly in there from that off-guard spot, through contact, grab that thing with 2 hands and finish. I mean, there's just not a lot of weakness right now in this Gator lineup, through and through. You know, Oklahoma's actually, they've held in their own on the boards tonight. They just can't make enough shots.
The 3 guards, Jimmy, have combined for 44 points right now. Clayton Jr., he's got 16 to lead the way. Martin has 13. And Will Richard has 14. And missing again. More bunnies inside that lane. Godwin struggled with that left hand. It's 1 of 5 now from the floor. Martin, nice dish to Chinyelu, and he throws it up, and he's going to get the foul on Godwin. Jimmy, what do you like here? You got Mississippi State, terrific team. They get Oklahoma on the road at 1 Eastern time. Ole Miss, Chris Beard go to Vanderbilt, currently unranked. The Gators are at LSU. So what it feels like, opportunities for Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and LSU, because it's not going to be a very close point spread with any of those 3 games.
5 of those 6 teams are on my jet.
Whoa, the jet teams.
Yeah,
okay.
5 of those 6 teams are right now on that NCAA jet out of this league.
So are the engines starting to rev a little bit?
We almost have to buy a bigger jet.
Yeah.
Like Jaws, you need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Now the SEC needs a bigger jet. There's only 12 seats on it. And we got 12 ready to roll tonight with the 13th and the 14th.
Wait, you have a jet that only has 12 seats on it?
Well, it's a very expensive jet with nice seats.
Lenardi
lot of leg
has
room.
got 13 teams getting in.
Huh?
The jet's got 12 seats.
Lenardi will have to have a bus.
Tough crowd. Tough crowd. Molly on the jet?
Molly's on the jet.
All right.
Wow, he is so good. He doesn't get sped up. He plays to a nice pace. He's a no mistake guy. You make a mistake on Walter Clayton Jr., it is lights out.
Todd Golden leading the cheers here at the O-Dome.
Walter Clayton Jr., man, comes off that early transition ball screen, and his ability to get separation. 2 guys go with a short roll. That's a mistake. And Todd Golden says, I want to be the #1 overall seed. We ain't done yet.
You take a look at Billy Donovan Court. He's, by the way, the Hall of Fame finalist for induction when they will announce, Jimmy, April 5th at the men's Final Four. Wouldn't it be interesting and fascinating if he gets in and Florida is participating in San Antonio in the Final Four?
No doubt. It's Florida's best opportunity to win the national title since they won it under Billy Donovan. It's also, Ravi, this is the SEC's best year to win it in a long one since 2012. They've been on a drought. Yep. So as many teams as they're going to have in those 1 and 2 seeds, the expectation for this league to get to the Final Four is set pretty high. I think the Big Ten has a couple of Final Four teams. I really like Michigan and Purdue.
Blavsar has been so tough.
I watched him in practice about a month ago, and I asked Todd about him. He said, hey, I'm not afraid to start throwing him in games, and you can see why.
It's just like tapping Todd on the shoulder by his play. Hey, I know about the other dudes, but don't forget about me.
No doubt.
I'm Urban Clavsar. I'd like to play a little bit more. I can do this. And that one's going out of bounds. And I can sense it. I can see it. I can smell it.
The debut of this year's Jet. 12 teams out of the SEC as of right now. It could grow to 13, maybe 14. It could also shrink to about 11. But, man, what a historical run right now that this league is on.
That Jet looked like it might have been a little bit bigger than what you're talking about. I saw some empty seats.
A lot of leg room. We can add if we have to. Molly makes her debut as a co-pilot.
She was phenomenal. There were like 3 or 4-ish seats still available. Not sure if you saw them. 5-ish. Did you see that? I mean, there were some empty seats there.
Yeah, there were. Yeah.
Thank you for making room, guys. I know there aren't a lot of seats available in this league, so
yeah.
I appreciate it.
And yeah, you thanked us. We should apologize for dragging you into this.
First thing Todd Golden asked me today, I saw him walking on campus. Where are we on the jet? Well, Fears just dances with that ball, doesn't he? You can see what NBA scouts see in that kid.
There's a long 3 from Goodine. Good 3-point shooter at about 45%. But yes, you can absolutely see what they appreciate about Fears' game. Clavshar's feeling the offensive thing tonight. He had that one roll out. He just missed a 3 on the prior trip down. You know, Jimmy, at Little League, they pass out pins that people can make. And, you know, when you get on planes and you're a little guy or a little girl, they used to hand out wings.
Yeah.
You should come up with Jimmy the Jet wings and hand them out when you're walking campus. Can you imagine what fire that would catch?
Oh, these people behind us.
Oh, my gosh.
They would eat that up, right?
Jimmy Jet wings. Not edible.
That jet started back in 2008 as just a side third graphic.
Really? Well, it's come so far.
It's come a long ways.
Well, first class is occupied this year more so than in years past by SEC teams. And you said there's some others looking to get into first class.
And Texas A&M could work their way up there.
Yes, they can. Aberdeen, nice bounce pass there in traffic. How ripping it away. He does that as well as anybody.
He has a motor that does not stop. He is all gas. Thomas Houck. I think he sets the temperature for this Florida team. You got to have a guy that, you know, controls the thermostat, and to me, it's Thomas Houck.
You know, you mentioned A&M. They are playing right now on the SEC network in a good one against Mississippi State. The 4-point Mississippi State advantage, 46-42. We look forward to welcoming our buddy Dick Vitale back. He joins us Saturday, Jimmy, for Kentucky and Alabama. It'll be great to see Coach Vitale in person.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I just, like a lot of people in college basketball, I've been in thoughts and prayers for the last couple of years, and we are so excited to be with Coach on Saturday.
Duke Miles picks up his 4th, Jimmy.
Well, if Florida continues to be unselfish, and I've seen nothing about them that says they're not going to be, they're going to be a serious threat in that Final Four. They move the ball, Ravi, so well. Their assist numbers again tonight are high, but the ball doesn't get stuck. And if they continue to play like that, they have 10 assists tonight. They are a tough cover.
You know, you start the season with aspirations, and by this point, we're midway through February, 3rd week of February. There are teams that realize we're legit, and Florida knows they're legit. They're doing this without Sam Alexis. They're doing this tonight without Alex Condon. They know. So the rest of the way, it's more of validation, verification. Doesn't mean you win it, but you know you're in that first class. You're in that conversation.
Yeah, I don't know, there might be 10 or 12 teams that can probably feel the same way about him, but that list is getting shorter and shorter.
Right. Tough shot, that one by the outstretched arm of Houck. As Goodine put it up and in.
Right, there's so much to be said for what you just said. When you leave the locker room as a staff and with your guys, you know you can beat anybody in the country. And that's the confidence that Florida has right now, and that they have deserved it and earned it.
Shindilu just ran over Moore and threw it up and in. That call number 9's number a lot tonight because the guards have been so great. He is a physical presence. while since Fears buried one, so he reminds everybody he's still in this game, and now 17 in the game. Well, I'm sure he's getting a lot of minutes tonight.
Well, he's earned them.
Yes.
You look what that kid does, is that he makes plays that don't show up on the stat sheet. Talking about 7 and white at the top of the screen.
Shinyulu out. Elvis in the building with the foul. A rugby background here as well. Australian rules football. They've been involved in physical play. And I don't know, we've been to a million of these shoot-arounds. Do you think you can glean something from the way a team goes through a shoot-around as the way the season wears on? Because I'll say this about Florida, just because we saw them, their enthusiasm, their energy, there's not many that match it.
No, there's not, but I think it feeds back to they have big goals in front of them. And they approach every game day like it's the national championship game. They prepare for it. But their confidence level right now is easy for you and I and Molly to see this afternoon. Just the love they have for one another. Molly talked about in the open, the fight they have for one another, the unselfishness.
Great defense by Howe. Terrific defense to stay right in front of Elvis.
But think about, tonight, Clayton, Richard, and Martin have combined for 45 points, but Clavichar, number 7, also now a scoring threat. Denzel Aberdeen, who's been averaging 16 the last 4. Who has 5 more productive guards in the country right now than Florida? The answer is nobody.
Yeah, nobody. You answered your own question. Yeah, there was a step right in front of Todd Golden, but they're not gonna pull that string. Look out! Oh, that boy, Handlockton came right down on Martin, and thankfully Martin was there because Handlockton was going to come down really hard.
Now, Jalen Moore is a very fast, long, explosive athlete. And right there, Martin does a good job of catching Handlockton. Yeah. But again, Jalen Moore, the MVP of the Battle for Atlantis. And he's also in the top 10 finalists for the Julius Irving Small Forward of the Year Award. He's been terrific this year. And 29 points against Texas this year, leading scorer in the SEC play.
Again, Joe Lenardi said a loss by Oklahoma won't be a devastating loss as far as their tournament hopes. But at some point, like you said, you got to win a few of these games, and it's not an easy schedule. It never is in this conference, but they're playing some of the cream of the crop with 5 ranked teams. Clavichar. Good hands, Handlockton tied up, and down he goes.
It all started, though, with the ball pressure of Clavichar. And Clavichar picked that ball up at the 75-foot mark and just hounded the basketball. 7 or 8 dribbles. Man, the depth of this Florida team is real stuff. Clavichar, look at that. That's a championship chess man. He gets those hands out. He stays in front of that basketball, puts pressure on it. And Handlockton, all 7-1 of him over there. Swiper, no swiping, but almost.
There's a beautiful look about Handlockton, given that Saturday Night Live just celebrated his 50th anniversary.
I know where you're going.
Well, he's gotten Will Ferrell a lot, and he does have a wonderful smile and personality about him. Very popular amongst his teammates. He, Condon, fired up Martin. No good, and Hout volleyballed it back out. Aberdeen, good pass to Clavichar. Good result.
Man, he could start for a lot of teams
in this conference.
Yes, that's the 5th guard that Florida has.
There's help. Look at Farrell. He's smiling on the way back up. And Aberdeen, no. Well, that's a Handlockton's having himself a fun time out here right now.
Man, Clavichar 7 out of 9 from the three-point line in the last 4 games, and that number's going up tonight. Such a smooth release, and another just a tough competitor. He's 2 out of 4 from the three-point line, and there's the value of Hanlockton. All 7 feet of him. He's going to impact that ball around the rim defensively going forward. He made a good defensive team better when he took that red shirt off.
Well, we talk about the challenges ahead, and once more, Porter Moser said it's a difficult path, but it's an attainable one.
Man, where's the win?
Yeah, look at all those numbers.
Oh, wow.
And then at Texas, March 8th.
I mean, you only have 3 conference wins. You got to get, I would think, a minimum at 6.
This is the first of, again, 5 in a row against ranked teams. And we just saw Texas beat Kentucky at Texas. Such a wonderful place to play. And Texas very well could be playing for their tournament lives that day. It's about 8 minutes before 9 o'clock. 2 more games, so you can find them on your laptop, TV, whatever multiple devices you have. Number 5, Houston will square off against ASU at 9 Eastern time right here on ESPN2. Winners of 17 of their last 18 over on ESPN. Bill Self looking for some consistency from his Kansas Jayhawk team there in Provo, taking on BYU.
Well, Bill's team, defensively, they're fine. They cannot find any type of rhythm or consistency on the offensive end. That league right now, my eye goes to Houston, Iowa State, and Arizona. 3 teams that could find their way into that Final Four as well.
Deflected, and Martin, like a defensive back, he had that nose for it. He went to get it. A guy like A.J. Storr, though, you know, this portal, the NIL, all that money, it doesn't guarantee that a transfer is going to have great success. He came from a good program. His numbers are way down. Many of the guys that moved on to Kansas have seen their numbers come down this season, oddly.
Yeah, in a strange way, Wisconsin loses Chucky Hepburn and A.J. Storr, and they're better this year. That's a Wisconsin team sitting there.
Big win this weekend.
Really score, man. They have found their groove offensively. I look at Thomas Houck out there, and I talked about him being the guy that sets the temperature, the barometer, because he's just a winning player. He's unselfish. He's got a great voice. He can literally guard 1 through 5. A lot of guys say they can. He can actually do it. And he never takes a possession off. Very mature team.
Isaiah Brown steps in, and Elijah Martin getting some love on the sideline. Now, you're taking the temperature with the barometer or the thermometer? Where are you going with?
I use both.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. And that's Klafschar again, man. You know how difficult it is to draw an offensive foul on Fears and stay in front of him? Now, this kid can make some threes, but I see the value that Todd Golden sees, that I can put this guy in and maybe lock down one of your highest scoring guards going forward. And he is built like a bulldog.
Golden was discussing when he was asked about all this depth that all of a sudden is developed, and now with Hanlockton, he's like, playing 10 is not ideal. And now Klafschar is kind of knocking on the jet door to get in. Houck will absorb, and then throw it up. Hanlockton pushed off. So, if you were to power rank in the SEC, how would you power rank them tonight, right now? 1 through 4.
I don't know if there's much separation between Auburn and Florida, to be honest with you. Florida won at Auburn. So I would split those 2, honestly.
So they're on the 1 line in our little world right now. Auburn/Florida.
Auburn/Florida. I love Alabama. I still like Tennessee, and I think A&M. They're all this. There's no separation in my eyes between those 5 teams.
Okay. Hand locked in, working hard, and there you go. He's got his first 2 and a largest lead of the night.
There will be games in March that you got to be able to throw the dadgum ball inside and score, get fouled, and Hand locked in can be that pressure release 2 or 3 times a game for him.
And they already have that guy who's just sitting on the bench right now in a boot. There's a 3. That guy is an absolute pure shooter and Fears. And another big night for him offensively as he goes for 20.
He has had a great year, Fears, for a kid that should be a high school senior, and he's just been thrown into the fire. If you can see, he glides with the ball.
Brown, I'd like to get in on the action too. He couldn't there. Brown came down on him. We'll take a timeout. Think about the 2 freshmen we've seen our last 2 games.
You know who else is doing a great job of coaching this year? Megan Golden, undefeated.
She is. I know what you're saying. And don't forget, Jimmy, of course, that the ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball presented by Progressive Insurance.
I believe Kansas Rabbit is, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 games above 500 in Big 12 play over the last 2 years. They have dominated that thing forever under Bill Self. Just tough sledding for them in that league. For the Jayhawk standard, right?
Yeah, for sure. And the road has been, your point about the best win this season, you believe, in the conference came on the road by these Florida Gators. As impressive as Auburn's win was on the road at Alabama, going into the jungle and getting a win.
Yeah, I think the Florida win at Auburn's the best win in college basketball, period. And you go in and you took down #1 with all those 13 or 14 quad 1 wins. There's not one better. That's what Forsyth can do. Out of Dale, Oklahoma High School, 3 times Oklahoma State champion. Going to be a very good player for Porter Moser going forward. Well, in this league, that's about as good as you can hope for, right? Florida's remaining schedule. I mean, there's no guarantees there at all. LSU and Georgia at the bottom of the league, but those games are on the road. And then Buzz's team comes in here at Alabama, finish up with Ole Miss. But I mean, Todd Golden hadn't backed away from not only being a 1 seed, he's got that bar set to be the overall #1 seed.
Strength of schedule, right? You said out of conference, not as strong as maybe Alabama's, which is uniquely strong.
Or Auburn, yeah.
Or Auburn. But it's funny when Nate Oates was thrust into that conversation when they were 2 and Auburn was 1. He said, I don't care about the ranking. I just want to be the #1 overall seed. I want to win the conference, and I want to win the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Foul on Aberdeen against Fear. Let's go back over the night for Walter Clayton Jr.
Well, he's played really hard, and there were some times in conference play early I didn't think his motor was going as fast as it should be, but I think those days are behind him. Todd Golden's done a good job of getting this guy back on track, and he can do it all offensively. There's not a guard in college ball in the last couple of weeks playing better than Walter Clayton Jr. And it's not just the scoring. He's averaged 7 or 8 assists over the last 4 games coming in. He's got a nice temperament about him. He's a tough, fierce, competitive kid.
18 points tonight for him, and you see the shooting 6 of 9 between Walter Clayton Jr., Richard, and Martin. 46 points between the 3 of them. You throw Klafschar in there with his 10, and those 4 guys have outscored Oklahoma 56-53. Klafschar, oh, it worked. He left his feet and he found Brown for an easy one.
Todd Golden will have no hesitation throwing Klafschar in any game going forward. No matter how big the stage gets, if they get to the Final Four, that kid's going to be on the floor some. Lavshar is built like a bulldog, and he plays low and strong, but he drives it with a purpose, a little hesitation pass, and the find on the baseline. And this tells you about the togetherness of this team. Those are the 4 dudes right there. They are all into it.
Great reaction from Martin on the bench. Tough shot as Kubutzkis just came into the game. Kaius Kubutzkis. He's dribbling the ball with a minute 20 to go as Florida's going to improve to 23-3 and continue that terrific record at home, Jimmy. Just 1 loss. They're averaging, what, 86 points a game at home?
Yeah, they're beating people by 25 points a game. Now, Porter Moser still trying to keep his guys together and believing and having hope. So they played a much better second half, pretty much a tie game in the second half. But they're up against maybe the best team in college basketball right now. For Florida and Auburn, to me, Alabama, there's just no separation between those 3 teams. I think those 3 teams are better than Duke. I just think they're more athletic, they're faster. I know Duke has the size, but I give the nod to those 3 teams right now.
Chinyelu, he's picking up some points here in garbage time.
Chinyelu is a guy that just is all out effort. But again, look at Thomas Houck, a 6'10" kid that can make threes, keep the ball moving, find cutters. I talked about how good Florida is cutting off the ball. It's multiple guys. Just a complete performance by the Gators tonight.
12 more 3-point field goals. The rebounding advantage swung back to Florida. It was one of those aberrational numbers in which Oklahoma had a lead in rebounding. We've talked a lot about depth. 5 different Gators are in double figures in this game.
So, Ravi, you got 2 different challenges right now for these coaches. For Porter Moser, is to keep his guys believing, moving in the right direction, trying to find another 3 wins, maybe 4.
It's daunting, though, isn't it? When you look at the schedule, it is daunting.
Yeah, I mean, he was honest with us today that, you got to create your own hope, and you do that by winning tough games. But they got to stay together. They have to stay connected. And they're right on the cut line right now of that NCAA tournament projection. Todd Golden, on the other hand, has got a completely different challenge to keep his guys getting better, keep them playing with a chip and an edge and something to prove. He's done it so far through now 26 games.
An awfully impressive game for the Florida Gators of Todd Golden as they congratulate each other at the half-court line, Golden and Moser. Florida a winner, 85-63.